Oh, what goes on, you beautiful people of the internet? All of you, including you. It's Friday. And we have things we're going to talk about. Finally Friday is being brought to you this week by Major Spoilers VIP and Patreon members from around the world. You can show your support and get access to a bunch of other stuff when you go to patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Well, happy Friday, everyone. It's been a couple of weeks. Every time I sit down, I've been doing so many game streams during the week right here on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Major Spoilers. For those of you that are watching the replay over there at YouTube, youtube.com/Major Spoilers video. You skip 1 week of Finally Friday and suddenly you sit down and you're like, what are the buttons I'm pushing? What are the musics that I'm playing? But it's good to be back. We have a lot to talk about today. Well, really only one thing to talk about today, and it's going to be a long one. First time in 3 weeks that I didn't forget to tune in. Well, Squirrel Brian, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today. Geeky Choreographer is there, as is Psycho Red. And Mark Smith 72 and probably a whole bunch of other people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, History Table is here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming to check us out. I'm looking around. I got a lot of things here that have been piling up. I've got apparently I ordered this like 3 years ago, and it finally decided to come in without any warning. Ant-Man, 6th scale figure. That's kind of cool. Here's a Bubble Gumshoe book for no reason sitting here on my desk. Oh, and this came in a couple of weeks ago that we haven't talked about because Ashley's been on the show. It is the new, not necessarily Clash of the Titans, but if you're someone who has wanted to take your Magic the Gathering game to a new place, here we have Mythic Odysseys of Theros, or the Ross, depending on how you're going to pronounce it. Set in the Magic the Gathering world of Theros, or Theros, players can wield a god's weapon and play using new race options as they embark on a challenge fit for the gods. Select a supernatural gift. Align your character with one of the Theros' 15 gods and carve a tale of odysseys and ordeals in your personal path to destiny. The new sourcebook introduces the Bard's College of Eloquence and the Paladin's Oath of Heroism, even as it presents players with the challenge of mythic monsters. Destiny and immortal schemes lead the player's characters through challenges previously unknown, leaving behind an odyssey that will be celebrated in the Antitheum of Legends, Ritamon, the Eternal Stars. This is available now for your Dungeons and Dragons games. I've flipped through this a couple of times, and the first time I flipped through this, I was like, oh, this is all Greek mythology or Greek-like mythology, and I really didn't realize that this was part of the Magic the Gathering system because, number one, I spent way too much money on Magic the Gathering trying to figure out the game, and then gave the whole system away without really going into the mythology and the story, all that good stuff. But this looks pretty cool. It doesn't say what levels this is for, but there are definitely, I mean, this isn't a campaign, to tell you the truth, but if you ever wanted to see what a harpy looked like, look at that harpy. Hello, harpy. But this has like, here's where these people hang out, and they've got detailed maps and things in this book. It's pretty cool, and they go through all these different gods. I mean, like I said, there are literally some Greek-esque gods in here. You've got the multi-headed dog. I saw a page of that. The harpies are in here. You've got archons and all sorts of things that you can find if you decide to take your D&D adventurers into the land of the Magic the Gatherings. So there you go. That is that. Those are just some of the things on the plate. Also, Dr. Brad Will sent me a message, says, hey, you need to try to play Slay the Spire on Steam and iOS. It's the very best deck builder I've ever played. I think you will like it. Oh, there's a Lagnus around? Oh, everybody's already talking in the chat because they read. People are actually reading the title of the headlines. And if you're hanging out in the Finally Friday chat over on the Discord server, you can listen to this live, but I think you have to be a patron for that one. But people have already figured out we are talking today about Mulan, not the Chinese legendary character who won many battles, not the animated movie that Disney put out what feels like 20 years ago, probably more than 20 years ago. But no, the live-action movie that was supposed to have 1, 2, 3... No, it's supposed to have multiple premieres. Never came to theaters. And this past week, Disney announced, when it was talking about its Disney Plus service with 60.5 million subscribers, that it was going to do something that I've been talking about for years, something Universal Pictures did and got themselves in hot water. They are going to take Mulan and make it a premium VOD movie before it even gets into theaters. We'll put an asterisk by that, right? We'll come back to that in a little bit. Premium VOD service, they're going to charge $30, well, $29.99 for people to access this live-action movie on the Disney Plus service beginning on September 4th. Now, there are some pros and some cons to this. First of all, the pros. Yay, Disney, for thinking ahead with $29.99 and thinking premium VOD. On the downside, you still have to be a Disney Plus subscriber at $6.99 a month or whatever that is. So this is really almost a $40 ticket for this. That's right, History Table. In addition to a Disney Plus subscription, unlike what was the one with the Valiant Comics guy, Bloodshot? Unlike that movie, which was a rental, this one is, as long as you have your Disney Plus subscription, you pay the $30 and you can watch it as many times as you want. You can watch it as often as you want. You can watch it years from now, if you like, after you make that initial purchase. So that's a good thing, actually, because I know some people are already balking at the $30 price tag. But that's $30. That's basically like you're paying for the movie now. And you can go and see it as many times as you want. It's like a magic ticket. It's like Charlie's golden ticket. You get a golden ticket and get to watch Mulan as many times as you want. And I have a feeling that there are some people that will want to watch this 2, 3, 4, 10 more times before they're forced to go back to school. I almost said something else. Before they go back to school, and maybe once they're at school, because then they can all gather with their friends and they can talk and they can giggle about how much they love Mulan and talk about it for hours on end until they ultimately get sick and then get sent home, and then they're going to have all sorts of free time to watch Mulan as the pandemic progresses. And that's really what this boils down to, right? Disney would not be doing this had they not had an outlet to show this in theaters. They were really hoping for a huge China opening. But China has had a resurgence of the pandemic. In fact, I think last weekend, theaters had tentatively opened in China, and the weekend box office take from China was something like $17 million total for all moviegoers in China in one weekend. That's not good. You know, Disney was hoping, I don't know if they know, I don't know if they've said this, but Mulan, Chinese character, that's $300 million easily. $700 million easily. Easily $400 million from China alone. $17 million? That's Disney pulling their collars out and going, oh, I don't know about that. Of course, places that don't have Disney Plus, Disney said that they were going to release that into theaters, but how many countries have theaters that are actually open, that are actually showing anything? Countries that are actually big enough to bring in $700 million that I know Disney was hoping for this movie. Not many. United States being one of them. And we've seen how the movie theater opens and closes and seeing dates pushed back left and right. Tenet, we're looking at you. Now, I'm a big fan of the premium VOD. I've been talking about premium VOD since Majorspoilers.com started. Go back into those archives. Look at how much hate and vitriol I have received over the years when I said, oh no, premium VOD is the way people need to go, because there's no way that I would want to go see, especially when I have young children at the time when I wrote that, and even today when I have teenagers and surly kids that mope around the house all day. Maybe I want to go and see, at the time it was Iron Man, but I'm not going to take my kids to see Iron Man when they were 1 and 2 and 3. That's rude. It's also very expensive, as you see in the scrolling by. The one J. Michael T says that $12 tickets for Atlanta. I'm pretty sure it's more than that. But let's say that you're here in Hays, Kansas. Hays, Kansas, it's like $7.50. I mean, it's really cheap to go to the movies here. Now, of course, the movie theater isn't open, but there you go. Probably will not ever open again, is going to be my guess if AMC decides to go belly up. More on that in a little bit. But let's say you're paying $12 for a ticket, okay? And I know when I took my youngest to go see Shazam at the AMC 20 up in Kansas City, I know we probably spent, just for the two of us, about $30 just for the tickets to go see Shazam on that opening weekend. So let's say you've got a family of 4, and Disney, Mulan, it is a family movie. It could be a date night movie. It could be an individual viewing movie, but knowing the history of Mulan and Disney, they are targeting this as a family movie, right? So we're talking family of 4, let's just say. I know, Skrull Brian, you have more than 4 kids. J. Michael T, I think you have less than 4 kids, or 4 people in your household. But we'll just use the average family of 4. That's $48 just for the ticket. $30 suddenly doesn't seem, and $30 to go again and again and again suddenly doesn't seem like that big of a deal. For the family to sit around the old boob tube, watch their movie and eat their own popcorn. Oh yeah, popcorn. People like to have refreshments when they go to the theater. I spend more on refreshments when I go to the theater than I do on the ticket. And all I'm getting is, at most, a drink and a popcorn, or a drink and a nacho. Or if I'm going with a family of 4, 4 drinks, 4 candies, 2 popcorns. There's like $60 right there. $100 for a family of 4 to go see Mulan in the theater versus $30, $36, $40 if you want to round up. $100 versus $40 to see Mulan. Now, if you're an individual, if you're a single person, this may not make a lot of sense. That may seem a little bit too much for you. And in that case, it's going to depend on how much you're willing to spend to see this movie, which has brought up the price point, the $29.99, which to me, I don't mind paying that for a movie that I want to see. And my wife kind of scoffed when she heard $30 for the movie. I'm still going to pay it anyway, and we're going to all sit down and watch it. But $30 seems a little much. I'd gladly pay that for premium VOD movies, Star Wars, Black Widow, Avengers. Yeah, $40. Yeah, I'll do it for $40 because it's still cheaper than going to the movie theater, and I get to watch it on my time, and I don't have to worry about somebody coughing on me. So for me, that is a good price. But for you as an individual, that may be too much. Now, we saw Universal pull a great stunt with the Trolls 2 World Tour movie. And how they ended up making somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 million off their first weekend or first 3 weeks of premium VOD for Trolls 2. I don't know how much the movie cost. I didn't look it up. Somebody else can go look it up real quick. Trolls 2 budget. This is probably around $100 million. $80 million probably. So it probably, in the first 3 weeks, didn't make its money back. But it's probably gone on to make a lot more money. It certainly made AMC and a bunch of theater chains angry and say they would never run a Universal movie again in their theater until just recently, when Universal and AMC and Cinemark and all these places came to an agreement in which Universal said something I said a long time ago. When I said, hey, you know what would make premium VOD very accessible for the movie theaters? Is if you gave them a take. So instead of charging us, $19 for some movie, charge us $30 for the movie. Give 20% to the theaters. That'll keep them happy. in the short run. What's ended up happening, though, is Universal has shrunk that window from, what, like 3 months to 17 days or something like that. 3 weeks. So we're going to see those movies now, even after pandemic. We're going to see them cycle out of a theater and then right into your home video very, very quickly. So right now, this is going to be a big cash grab to see how many people are going to be willing to see the movie right now versus waiting 3 weeks in the future. Now, not right now. Mulan is not going to be available for rent in 3 weeks. But, you know, in 2022, sure, 3 weeks might be that window. Trolls 2, yeah, that's what I figured. $90 to $100 million. Most movies today, when you look at the actors that they even had in Trolls, $100 million is about right. Most movies today, I don't want to even say blockbuster movies, but most average movies, when you've got some big name stars in it, are going to be about $100 million movies, right? Just because most of that money is going to the actors. Just to kind of put it in perspective, Robert Downey Jr., in order to play Iron Man as many times as he played Iron Man, $50 million. So just think $50 million for Tony Stark, $50 million for Captain America, $50 million for whoever, Hunky McHunkerton, Thor. He probably got about $20 million in that. But easily, just with 3 actors in an Avengers movie, you're going to be at $100 million. Which is why it's no surprise that the Mulan movie has a budget of $200 million. It's a blockbuster. Disney was counting on this being a big deal. So they put the money into it. Anything that's going to be a big budget, your Black Widow movie is a $200 million movie. Anything that is Tenet is a $300 million movie easily. Yeah, I didn't know about that geeky choreographer. We'll talk more about that soon. And that is a big deal. But $200 million for Mulan. That's the budget. So in order to just break even, Disney needs to make a minimum of $300 million for the movie. And you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, Steven, you just said that the budget for this movie was $200 million. Why does Disney need $300 million to just break even? Well, part of getting a movie out into theaters and getting audiences to go see that movie is a little thing called printing and advertising. It's a line item budget. Printing refers to the number of actual physical prints of the film that they go out there. Used to be, if you wanted a print of a film, it might cost $50,000 per print. So if you've got 3,000 theaters in the nation, at $50,000, there's what, a 1.5 or 15 million? Do the math there real quick, people. And so, you've got probably, and in most cases, most films will have an advertising budget that is one half to the full price of the movie budget. So some big movies like Avengers, they might have a $200 million advertising budget. But Mulan, we can expect, had something like a $100 million advertising budget. And so they need to make at least $300 million off of this. Now, can they make $300 million off of Mulan as a premium VOD at $30 for unlimited access to the film? And the answer is yes. Yes, they can. And they can do it very, very easily. Providing that, 18 million, 12 million people, I think it's like 15 million to be honest, providing like 15 million people decide to buy into this. Now I know 15 million sounds like an awful lot. 15 million sounds like an awful lot of people to just plunk down $30 from their box at home. But is it? In their earnings call or their analyst call, Disney Plus said they have over 60.5 million paying subscribers. 60.5 million. So 10 to 20%, or probably about 15 to 17% of their paying subscribers will need to buy this for the movie to break even. To make that $300 million. Less than 20% of their subscribers need to buy into this. Now let's think about this a little bit more. Why do people buy Disney Plus? Why do people buy Disney Plus? Is it because you're, and in many cases, now I'm not discounting a lot of these people. Yeah, 600 million. Well, it's $6.99, or you could say $10 if you want to round it up. Yes, 600 million a month from subscribers. You think that's impressive? Go and look and see how much money Netflix makes. Go and look and see the number of Netflix subscribers there are. And I think there's like 2 to 3 times the number of Netflix subscribers at $19.95 a month or whatever that we're paying for Netflix. And run those monies. And then you'll understand why Netflix is getting into the movie business, right? Well, let's go back to the question of who buys the Disney Plus? Is it the lone individual? Is it the newly married couple? In some cases, yes. But a large majority of the people who are Disney Plus subscribers are families. Families with nothing to do while they're slowly starting to venture out into pandemic territory. Families that might want to sit down and watch shows together and are looking for something new. They've probably burned through Frozen 2 5,000 times since Disney released it just, 3 months ago? They've probably burned through Onward 500 times since the movie was released 4 months ago, or 5 months ago, whatever it was. But you're right, families. Families are going to buy this. And what do families do? They want to do things together. So 20% of the Disney Plus audience buying Mulan on September 4th or that holiday weekend when it comes out, I think there's a high probability, a really high probability, that Disney is going to nail this without a problem. I think they're going to reach $300 million easily. Now, the question is, will Disney get $700 million out of this movie? Because I think that is the ultimate goal. If you got a $200 million budget plus $100 million in advertising, your movie needs to make at least twice that much to be considered a huge success. I don't know. I guess it will depend on opening weekend. If they can get 20% of the people interested in this, then they'll break even. And maybe word of mouth will get another 20% to sign on. Okay? So that'd be about half. So that's 30 million people buying this. That would get them into the making money territory, making lots of money territory. Then you have to think, oh wow, Netflix has something like 100 million subscribers? Huh. What would get people to jump over to HBO Max? What would get people to jump over to Disney Plus who aren't already subscribers? Well, we saw that announcement of the Justice League Snyder Cut boosted HBO Max numbers quite a bit. We saw that, movies premiering on, what's the other one that I was just mentioning? Netflix movies, these original movies, boost people to come over to Netflix. And I have a feeling that in addition to people plunking down $30 to watch Mulan, there may be a large portion of the United States audience, maybe even the worldwide audience who has Disney Plus, who have not signed up, or I should say people who have not signed up for Disney Plus, are willing to subscribe just because they've been dying and waiting to see Mulan. And once you get them hooked at $6 a month, and they've already plunked down their $30 for the Mulan movie, and they want to watch it again, there's a better than likely chance they're going to be able to keep those subscribers long term. And I suspect that in 6 months, during the next earnings call about Disney Plus, I think we're going to see Disney Plus hit 100 million subscribers. All because of Mulan. So there you go. Is this a smart move? It's a gamble. Disney is certainly taking a gamble here. But what else is this movie going to do? It's going to sit on the shelves. And then the problem they're going to have is when the theaters do open back up, there's going to be a scramble to figure out where are we going to put all these movies that we weren't able to release in the last year and a half. Where are we going to put all these movies that we've already scheduled? And there's going to be a scramble. There's going to be a fight between the studios to find opening weekends. And you will see over the next 2 years, once theaters open back up, the 2 years following theaters opening back up, it's going to be a mad scramble. You're going to see studios starting to get into tussles over who's going to open. And you're going to see big movies go head to head on opening weekend to see who's going to make the most money. Will Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park make more money than the next big Star Wars movie? That's what's going to happen once these things pack together. Now, what is the future of all this? What is the future of all of this? What does this all mean? Now, in the Chapek, who is the current Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, who, interestingly, was just before everything went to crap, when Bob Iger was stepping aside, Bob Chapek was the person in charge of the theme parks. And the theme park business took a huge dump. In fact, this is the first time, I think somebody said it in the chat, since 2001 that Disney has lost money, has had a negative growth. And while that may scare a lot of people, now's a great time. I should probably throw this out there. I do own some shares of Disney stock, not a lot. But this is probably a good time to buy some of that Disney stock when it's starting to go down. This Friday, it's actually down quite a bit. So yes, the parks probably had this a little bit, but I think it's more looking at the future of studios and the future of movies. So being down, this may be a reason for Disney to look at putting Mulan on the premium VOD and testing it. Of course, Chapek said in the phone call that this is not going to be a regular thing. They're just testing the waters. This is just a test to see how things go. But I guarantee you, if September 4th, or let's say September 15th, comes and goes, and Mulan hasn't made $300 million, I would be very surprised. If by the end of September, Mulan hasn't made $700 million, I'd be okay. But it wouldn't surprise me if by the end of September, Mulan has made $500 million off of the premium VOD. And if it can hit that $500 million mark, yes, it's not the $1 billion that Disney is used to getting from their theatrical releases. If they can get $500 million by the end of September, I guarantee you, before Christmas, we will see an announcement that Black Widow will be coming to premium VOD. And I guarantee you that Warner Brothers is also watching this very, very closely, because I predict that in April of next year, we'll see a release of Tenet as a premium VOD. And I know what you're thinking. Steven, it's April. Tenet will already be in the theaters. Yeah, probably. Maybe. Interesting thing about that, there is in some contracts, not all contracts, some contracts actually have it written into the contract that the movie must see a theatrical release before it could even be considered going to video. And I believe Christopher Nolan has that in his contract. You may also remember that the September 4th weekend, Tenet was going to open in Europe in theaters. I guess that would count as a theatrical release, don't you think? But this is going to be very interesting, because really the future of premium VOD is going to rest. I said before, with Bloodshot. Bloodshot, I think, did okay. It didn't make its money back, but it was a shot across the bow. Trolls 2 was a hit. It's like if it was old warships, old wooden warships, a mast would have cracked when Trolls 2 dropped. If Mulan is a success, it's a direct hit, and that battleship is sinking. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all this plays out during the month of September. So we're probably going to come back and revisit this again in the 1st of October and see where things are. Because my bet is by December, you're going to see more premium VOD as we hit Thanksgiving, as we see what happens with pandemic, as I suspect, we're going to see schools shutting down. There's going to be an outcry for entertainment. I think we got our university football coach said, even though the MIAA Division II championships for all sports have been canceled for the fall, he came out and said, I don't think we're going to have any sports in the fall. So people craving different kinds of entertainment is going to be at a premium. And Hulu and Disney and HBO and Netflix and Amazon, oh, they're going to be right there, ready to snatch up your dollars and offer you something to keep you occupied. If I get every movie at home for $15 a piece, I'm never going to the theater again. 20 and it's close, says Malone Hasco. Yeah, I would agree with you. I do think, and I think we're going to see, I don't think there's going to be a fixed cost for premium VOD movies. Okay? I think it's going to fluctuate. I think if you get a Kevin Smith level, what's his, Clerks, not Clerks reboot, but the Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie, that one, $10, $15. Black Widow, Tenet, I think is probably going to be, I think Warner Brothers are going to shoot themselves in the foot. I think Tenet's going to go for $40, $45 when it goes premium VOD. And yes, I believe it will go premium VOD. But it's going to be $45, and I think that's going to be the breaking point. No one's going to say that. I think Disney knows it's pushing its luck with this $30 thing. If Disney really wanted to play it smart, they would say, hey, if you're a current Disney subscriber, it's $25 or $22. If you're not a Disney subscriber, you get it for $30, but you also get your first month of Disney Plus included with that. That's what Disney should have done with that. Bloodshot certainly did not get a lot of PR for their VOD. Still bought it for $20. Yeah, I bought that first weekend too. I thought it was a good movie. I really see that as a potential franchise movie. I don't think it's unfortunately going to happen because you're dealing with Valiant and you're dealing with smaller studios. No way Avatar 2 through 6 every summer. No, they're not coming out every summer. Avatar's not coming out every summer. They're coming out every other year. So it will be, according to Disney, it's going to be like Star Wars, the new Star Wars and the new Avatars are going to alternate on years. Let's see some of the other comments. I tried to pay attention to a little of them while I was going through there. I just like going to the cinema, says Lagnus, and certainly a lot of people do. I am to my breaking point as far as not wanting to go to theaters anymore. Just because of the rude people, the inconsiderate people, and the theater owners' disregard for making movie watching a pleasant experience. Yes, they may have fancy chairs that roll you back and sit back and got wide seats for your wide asses. But when the floor you're walking on is sticky, when I still have to be shuffled through one aisle to make all of my concession purchases while 3 other registers stay closed, while I'm paying, $40 for a soda and a popcorn, that's not a good experience for me when people aren't turning off their cell phones. Yes, maybe I need to go to an Alamo Drafthouse and experience good movie viewing, but Alamo Drafthouse isn't everywhere. It's the idea of paying for a streaming movie, says Shane from Canada. Is that what that bothers you? Sounds like a kickback payment. Sounds totally shady. I think you're talking about the payments to the movie theaters. I don't think that sounds shady. I think that is a way to smooth the rough road and ensure that when theaters are able to reopen, that the theaters can reopen and that they don't go bankrupt. Although I think I did see something with AMC did post like a $500 million loss this year because of coronavirus. Now they did. You remember, again, back in February, March, when we first started talking about this, AMC just got a $500 million bailout from an investor in China or South Korea, I want to say. AMC's going down. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that they will have a tough time coming back, which is why the other story that I think Carl wanted me to talk about was the dissolvement. The judge has approved that it's okay for the Paramount, U.S. Versus Paramount et al. Can be dissolved, leading the way for studios to own theaters again. And I think Disney, even though they're having a tough time, they're going to step in and they're going to buy a theater chain. Or Netflix is going to buy a theater chain. Netflix is the one I'm betting on. Let's see. What else do we have here? There's some other comments here. Gone Girl Blu-ray came out really quick when it was in theaters. Still, actually, we figured it was just buy for $25 instead of going out. So the new Star Wars sequencing of every other summer. I think it's every other Christmas, I think is what they're looking at. Theaters are awesome. They're clean, often short lines, friendly people who love movies. What are you talking about? That is insane there, Lagnus. Quit being that guy. I guess where you're at, I guess, theaters are awesome and they're clean and short lines. But here in America, it's a crap hole. I have yet to be to one theater in the last 10 years where I've had a good experience. The last time I remember having a good experience in a theater, a crowded theater, was probably Moulin Rouge when I was in California seeing a midnight movie. And the midnight movie was packed, but still, it was a good experience. When I go to the theaters, I like to go during times when it's downtime, when nobody is in the theater, because then I know that I can not worry about being interrupted or being bothered. Now, that doesn't mean that people still aren't going to have shenanigans. I do remember one time going to a movie on a Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock p.m. and being annoyed by the activities of a boy and a girl down by the third row. Didn't know it was a boy and a girl until she stood up. And that was about the last time I ever had a movie theater going experience that wasn't ruined by jerkwads. And I don't mind, I wish more theaters would go to the Texas theater chain, Alamo Drafthouse. I wish more theaters would go to that. Hard line. Put your phone away. Turn it off. If you're being a jerk, you're out of here and you're going to be banned forever. The one J. Michael T says, but it has to be a blockbuster. And that is the final point that I wanted to make today. The future of movies. And it goes back to something that I kind of scoffed at a long time ago on Zach on Film, when Steven Spielberg predicted that movies were going to, in a few years, be the thing akin to a Broadway musical, where the movie would be in the theater for months and people would spend premium money to go see that movie in the theater, $50, and the movie would be there for a while, just like Cats or like Hamilton. And I'm thinking if premium VOD is successful, you're going to see a lot of the sub $200 million movies go to premium VOD first, and then the really big blockbusters, your Star Wars, your Avatars, your Avengers, all owned by Disney, your Jurassic Parks, your Bill and Ted's, those will end up in theaters for months at a time. The Titanic, and have the Titanic effect, right? To where they can be there for almost a year and people are still willing to go again and again and again. I really think that that's going to happen. Only the big blockbusters will be going to theaters in the future. That's just a prediction that I'm making now. When will that happen? Well, if it took us 15 years to get to premium VOD, it's probably going to be another 15 years before that happens. All right. So much for this week's Finally Friday. It's good to be back. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out and chatting with us this week. A lot of good chatter in the chat. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Scroll Brian. Thank you, the one J. Michael T. Thank you, Geeky Choreography and History Table and Psycho Red and Shane Canada and Lagnus and all the other people that have stopped in to watch Finally Friday this week. Of course, I wouldn't be able to do this show without the support from fine people like our patrons over at patreon.com/Major Spoilers. If you enjoyed this discussion, I don't know if it's a discussion so much as me talking into the void. Old man screams at clouds. But if you enjoy this show, and you enjoy all the shows that we do at Major Spoilers, comic book, pop culture, movies, gaming, we got it all. Oh, we got it all. We are the House of Ideas. Unfortunately, I can't say we are the House of Mouse because we pay an exterminator to come and keep those filthy critters out of our house. But if you enjoy everything that we do, why don't you do me a favor? You don't have to buy in today. Save your money so you can get Mulan on September 4th, right? But if you do have a couple of extra bucks a month that you want to find a way to contribute to people creating content, creating art, creating thoughtful, provoking opportunities for you, then please take a moment and check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Every little bit helps, even if you can only be a $1 subscriber and say thank you for all you do. But maybe you want to become a silver level subscriber. A little bit more, $5 a month. basically $1 an episode for many of our podcasts. If you found that this conversation was worth $1 an episode, sign up for the silver level member, $5 a month at patreon.com/majorspoilers. All right, everybody, that wraps it up. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Do good, be good. Wear your masks. Oh, staying up for the Patreon Critical Hit episode tonight. It's a long one. I started working on it at 10 o'clock this morning, and I haven't even done the first edit. And I've got to get 3.5 hours of content down to probably an hour 50. So yeah, it's going to have to start probably about 7 tonight. I probably won't be done till close to midnight. So make sure, if you're a patron at patreon.com/majorspoilers, you do get those Critical Hit episodes a week early. I don't know if it's going to be a heartbreaking one, Michael T. Actually, this week's episode's actually pretty cool. Yeah, it's definitely getting interesting. Anyway, patreon.com/majorspoilers. Thank you, everybody. Like I said, do good, be good, wear your masks, wash your hands, don't touch your faces. Where's my buttons that I need to press? I had a whole button right here that just said, oh, there it is. It's renamed a different way here on this layout. Anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk with you again when it's finally Friday. Oh, look at all those awesome people scrolling by. Your name can be up there too. Oh, if you like gaming tomorrow afternoon, come back to the channel. I'll stream some stuff then too. Probably 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time. I'm almost making enough money from our Twitch subscribers that I could get Mulan as a premium VOD. Almost, though. Don't forget to continue the discussion over on the Discord server. Discord, God, I'm not even going to read it. Just go look for the Major Spoilers Discord. It's all over the majorspoilers.com website. If you've got a Patreon account, you get access to secret channels, so keep that in mind. I will say hi to Rodrigo, although I probably won't see him again until 2 weeks now, maybe? I don't know.